Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the proud owner of a proxy hatch directly inside our opponent's natural. Of course, the Canadian Zerg Scarlett. Up against an equally creative Protoss, formerly known as Cyan, but now going by Lancer. A best-of-3 Protoss versus Zerg. Lancer attempted to block Scarlett out of taking her natural, and to an extent succeeded, but Scarlett decided to one-up him in a very dramatic way. And before we get started, speaking of, it'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. And Jimmy, one more than yesterday. At 1,369 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully you're not lactose intolerant. As started things off, Scarlett trying to dictate the pace of the game. But Lancer taking it in stride as the drone mineral walks out. But there's going to be 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts on the way. And Scarlett putting down a proxy hatch with no real extra follow-up is more of a... I appreciate the spite. As on this map, you don't really have many options. You can't just take the third base out in another zip code or whatever equivalent they have in Canada. As there is no secondary option. So Scarlett just chose to slap down the hatch and throw things sideways. But now Lancer throwing shade across. And Scarlett has a grand total of 1 queen and 8 slow Zerglings to defend. Which, considering these are slow Zealots and just 2 Adepts, should be enough to at least keep them at bay for now. But the fact that Scarlett has to keep building drones at this stage of the game is obviously not ideal. The queen, getting caught out. Not quite target firing. Lancer unable to kill that queen off, but 3 drones, 4 drones. Dodges with a spore crawler. 4 drones is over 20% of the economy at the moment. So not an insignificant blow. And Scarlett gonna struggle to financially recover from this. Behind it, Lancer now finally finishing up the Nexus. Does have a dramatic worker lead, but you can't really use it until that Nexus is completed. So, Stargate on the way. Behind it is a Twilight as well, which that early on, with only 2 bases, likely indicates DTs or maybe Glaive Adepts. So, at least we're not getting your generic 3 hatch into 3 Nexus with oracles dilly-dallying around and shining their strobe lights onto the drones. It is something different. Is it good for the Canadian Zerg? I think Lancer almost wanted that proxy hatch to happen, as that is part of the intent of sending a probe out so early to block, is to just ruin the Zerg's day. And on this map, it gets more ruined than usual. So, Scarlett already a roach horn on the way. I'm sure anticipating something along these lines. She's got to toe a very thin, possibly non-existent line between building drones and units, as the Adepts are only 1 shade away from the base at pretty much any time. It's one of the shortest direct rush distances between the 3rd bases of any map in the pool. Revelation, trying to take out the creep tumors, succeeding. 3rd base is done for Scarlett. No 3rd Nexus yet for Lancer. So, definitely leaning into the Adepts. Not too many so far. No, the Queen assassinated by the Oracle. Even going for the drones here. Gonna pick up a couple more. And comes in. Get off my creep. That's revenge for Susan. All right, Brenda. And 3 more drones dead. Scarlett, 3 workers down. Now 4. Oracle back at home on defense. Glaive's about to complete. The pylon will be committed to. And this now... Well, does Lancer actually have enough to do critical damage? Scarlett has 16 lings and 3 queens against 11. Make that 14 Glaive Adepts. Oh, the answer is yes. I think Scarlett is dead. That is way too many Adepts. She was just now building Overlords, then decided on more drones, and the Roaches are a day late and several $100s short, as I can't really afford to lose any more drones now. It's almost a dozen slaughtered already. Well, the roaches will pop out. A couple more adepts get caught. But even the roaches, in such small numbers, will be cut down by the glaive adepts. The Zerglings coming up to help out, but they're not particularly great against it either. More adepts in towards the third. And it's not getting any easier here. The Queen's gonna try to protect. The workers are pulled. Workers not the ideal. Oh my god, it's a massacre. It's a disaster. Scarlett, well, even the Oracle trying to participate, though, kind of just hitting the Roach Warren, which is like the least important target right now. Somehow Scarlett isn't dead, but that which doesn't kill you leaves you permanently crippled, and a lot of people questioning why you're still in the game. So, Void Ray on the way. Scarlett actually tried to drone up, choosing the reckless economy path. Has to double, triple, quadruple down here, because essentially saying that if Lancer doesn't kill her in the next couple minutes, she can maybe catch up economically and do something with that. But ever since that proxy hatch was laid down, that's been the case. Lancer's kept control of the situation quite well, though. Even though Roach Speed is on the way, Scarlett's still down 13 workers with no real ability to move out, and even a Void Ray on the field means that, well, are there even enough queens? 4 queens are not a fearsome force walking across. When there's anything to support that Void Ray and those oracles. Immortals as well. I think Scarlett knew, and I would agree that trying to do some sort of all-in attack was just going to end depressingly. Honestly, some credit in not just leaving the game, as there is a vanishingly small but still possible chance that Lancer fumbles enough of an attack that Scarlett can drag it out into a more even money macro game. But Lancer's been doing a good job of just kind of playing the safe bets here. Void Ray, setting in small groups of adepts, going for Blink and Immortals, just in case Scarlett sneaks something. That's really your basic options against Mutas, Swarm House, even Lurkers. Gonna have trouble. Speaking of which, the Hydra Den, the Infestation Pit on the way. Scarlett up to 72 drones somehow. Manages to take the worker lead, but the army supply not looking so good. Infestation Pit halfway there. She needs another minute or two. At the least. And she's not gonna get it. Blink is done. More roaches on the way. The army value, oh my. Over triple for Lancer. It depends on how you measure Vespine gas. At least twice as much, I would say. And GG. Walks across and claims the victory in game 1. But a tough map and a rough start. I don't think you could read too much into that, but game 1 comfortably goes to Lancer. Handling that hatchery cheese. I think recognizing it was more of a spiteful move. We've all been there. All right? Like, that probe is so annoying, blocking your base, that sometimes you want to just go slap a hatchery in their base. Unfortunately, a calm and controlled response seems to be more than enough to deal with it. So Scarlett is gonna go sideways. The gold base this time, and Lancer's gonna cannon rush. Away we go! So, this is the normal response to this sort of play. This map is kind of figured out at this point. So, how does Scarlett handle it? Does she cancel the hatch at the last moment? Lancer's got the pylon in the right spot to jam it in there. I think just a single drum, because it could be a fake right up until this moment, when it's clearly not. Gonna try to jam some more. And now the question will be whether she bothers completing the hatchery at all. No. I think you just let the cannon finish at this point. You can use that as a staging area. And because if he doesn't let the cannon finish, Scarlett just comes back and takes the base again, and then we just keep playing. Oh, the Overlord. The Overlord moves slightly out of position, and now Lancer's going for the cannons again. There's that pylon jammed in, and here we go. Can probably jam a gateway right there. Or another cannon, you know, that also works. Well. Another drone coming down. Wait, where's this drone going? We're playing whack-a-hatch here. As Scarlett's third attempt at an extra hatchery. One cannon. Well, the hatchery gets canceled, so does the cannon. Shadow boxing at the moment. This cannon completes. And now an adept is coming across. I have no idea. Like, what is going on? The mineral wall was already taken down by the drone earlier. Wait, will Lancer just take this base? So the conservative cannon rush, literally just one cannon in total, though several more threatened, has not scouted the northern base. It does feel a little ridiculous that Scarlett would go for another base, which is why it should be so obvious that she has, but... And that pylon could be taken down by a queen if there was any extra time there. The adept shades through. Oh, misses the drone on this. Hasn't actually killed any. Finally gets one. Trying to get the others. An awkward fight. Gets two. Which... Quite a blow here, considering Scarlett is only at 24 drones. Somehow, once again, we found ourselves in a very awkward scenario. The queens still haven't really found the motivation to take down that pylon. Susan, come with me. We need to outflank this pylon. Stop making it sound so dramatic, Brenda. It's not going anywhere. Remember when pylons could shoot? Oh. Well, actually just going straight for the cannon instead of letting the queens take their time killing the pylon. Trying to maximize that uptime, I guess. Queen almost dies because of it, though, so... There's still the pylon out here. Scarlett may... Well, she doesn't know the cannon was canceled. Now checks for it. And we'll take that out as well. Lancer thinking about a gold base of his own because of course he is. All right. This is the kind of series I said. These are your less than standard players. Gold base not spotted by the Zerglings. We'll see if Scarlett actually sends something down there. The Void Ray can help defend it, but if Scarlett decides to pull the queens, things are gonna get weird again. And Lancer actually a little supply blocked here. Finally finishes another pylon. Still supply blocked though. Can't warp in anything at the moment. So this creates a bit of an awkward scenario, especially with 2 gates done. Still no pylons finishing. Like, a long supply block here. The only thing in production in Oracle. And this will slow down any sort of follow-up pressure that Lancer wants to do. As not being able to warp in any units means that you don't really get that time back. That warp gate cooldown only starts the moment you warp in more units. That means Lancer sitting on 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker, 1 Void Ray, and 2 Oracles. Scarlett doesn't yet know about the gold base, as Lancer has used her own strategy against her, and it seems to great effect. Is there a recall? I thought I heard I did hear a recall. I don't know what was recalled, though. An Oracle, I assume? Oh, the probes were recalled to the gold. Yeah, that makes sense. Don't want to risk them getting spotted. And, of course, like, when you're walking to the gold base, you're not mining. Citation needed, I know, but... And they don't really walk, they kind of clot. Not important. So Lancer now, with a gold base. Scarlett, though, 58 drones and counting. Despite the tomfoolery of the early game, she's managed to get a worker lead, though won't be able to hold on to the 4th hatchery yet. What? She didn't have enough minerals in order to rebuild the hatchery. Or yes, she did. I'm not sure why she decided not to, but actually went to a spore crawler. Now another hatch is on the way. Tell me that creep tumor isn't blocking. I don't think it is. Okay, here we are. Hydra's den is on the way. Already Roach is on the field. 71 drones for Scarlett. She's managed to get a full near late game complement of drones at 7 minutes, despite having to cancel two hatcheries to start. Something like that. So now, focused on building up that army supply. Though, I think going to be suspicious. If she ever gets to the watchtower, she'll know, but definitely should be suspicious why Lancer hasn't even attempted a third yet. And so now taking the third base, the stasis triggered on just Zerglings here. Creates a mini choke point, but that's not nearly enough stalkers to intimidate the Roach Ravager. Maybe a little scared of whatever's behind, but right now there's 8 gates done, and Scarlett is working like, if she thinks he's on 2 base, there's no reason to risk it by chasing down that army. Because if you're on 3.5 to 4 bases against a 2 going on 3 base Protoss, you just gotta wait them out. But when you're on similar economies, and in fact Lancer's almost even on income, well, that's a very different story. But from Scarlett's perspective, all she has to do is sit back and let Lancer waste his time. She's got creep spread already to the other side. But that lack of information on the gold base is incredibly important and is certainly dictating the pace of this game right now. Is there an infestation pit? No. Up to 80 drones, no infestation pit, no hive on the way. Though sending out a potential flank. What do we got up there? A whole bunch of roaches. And she still hasn't spotted the gold, but is looking to outflank the stalkers. But they're gonna go over the top of the rocks, blinking bit by bit. Well, I expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. Taking down the rocks. Hey, come on in. The concave's fine. Though, in this case, the concave is a lot more helpful for Scarlett, who still has not so close. I think we'll accidentally see it. Like, oh my, all right. Well, Lancer kind of leads her into it. Now realizing, oh, wait a second, and that's kind of a freebie. All the stalkers are coming back now. There's the shield battery overcharge. Hydralisk speed is about to complete. The stalker count is damn high and they have superior upgrades. Down goes the Stargate units. Scarlett's army is better on paper, but this is about as good of a concave of stalkers as you could ever hope for. More Hydras coming up. The fight is so disjointed, but I think Lancer's stalkers will eventually be enough to clear this out. Not by a lot, and the charge lots coming in, serving a very important purpose of providing any sort of front line. And Scarlett, despite spotting the base, does it a little too late to overpower it. And now Lancer back on the attack, despite being 40 supply down. Scarlett has so much in production. Where is the infestation pit? Has not yet begun. Locked into lair tech. Could be a devastating mistake or a saving grace, depending on how much longer this game goes on. But a lack of hive tech is certainly going to hurt in the long run, especially if Lancer is able to stabilize on the 3-4 bases he has behind the gold now. Lancer down 60 supply. There's the lurker den. I think now realizing, oh no, the hive isn't on the way. Just now starting it. The infestation pit, that is, not the hive. The prerequisite there. As lurkers, well, lurkers without the hive tech upgrades are kind of like watching this video without liking and subscribing. All right? You can still do it. It's just sad. All right? And disappointing most of the time. Not nearly as fulfilling. Or capable of complaining about Protoss. So Scarlett adding on 5 spine crawlers. Anything to help as a stopgap here. No spines to the north side, knowing that there's going to be plenty of charge lots coming in. Spine Crow is not particularly great. Oh no, the hive! Oh no! Cancels it at the last moment. Not that it matters much, but it's a disaster. The tech tree cut off at the stump. And now has to restart a lair. So that will certainly delay hive by even longer. So not getting that infestation pit and not getting that hive done at all. Even getting the upgrade started would have been worth it. But now Scarlett is stuck in, well, not the dark, but maybe the feudal ages. Possibly Castle Age at this point, but certainly not Imperial. As the lack of hive tech will make it a lot easier for Lancer to maneuver around the map and get a lot closer to that 200 supply he's angling for. He knows that there is no hive. That means no Vipers. That means no ranged lurkers. And that means Colossi could actually do something. What a Christmas miracle for the Protoss. Extended Thermal Lance on the way, and there will be a window where ranged Colossi could outrange both the Hydras and the Lurkers, and there will be no direct counter on the field. There'll be no Corruptors nor Vipers. Nidus is on the way. The Hive restarts. Scarlett still has the army to beat. It's just not when it's on the open field. Nidus on the way as well. Potential Lurker counter. Both flavors of Templar. High Templar and Dark Templar. The Shrine to Dark. Always important. Pay your respects. That War Prism still. The massive side blade in her side here. Well, dozens of them. +3 Zealots. There's only +1 Carapace right now for the Zerglings. Hey, guys. Bobby, what are you doing? You're supposed to be with the Protoss. Oh. No. Colossi outranging both the Lurkers and the Spines, though a bit of an awkward angle for both. Fighting into the brunt of them here. Scarlett filing dozens of Hydras through the Watchtower. What a mess. Oh my god, so many creep tumors queued up. I think that's optimistic. You can queue up way more creep tumors than you actually have energy for. They'll just keep going until they run out. Oh my... The changeling is making it difficult, but not quite impossible to move past this area. Creep getting cleared up. Stargate, Fleet Beacon, at the back. The beacon is lit by Lancer. Calling for Carrier's Mothership Tempest, we'll see. Stalker blinks at odd timing. Force Field. Of course, there's no Ravagers to break it. There's nothing to go over the top. So just kind of annexing this base. No Lurker range yet either. The charge slots will easily chop through the drones, but the Lurkers are closing in. And some Zerglings onto the 4th base. We'll call it a 4th base. Down goes the rich Vespine base for Scarlett. The Zerglings chase back. No adrenal glands. Only 1/1 upgrades at the moment. Are you kidding me? 17 more Lurk! What? 26 Lurkers. A potential GG of Lurkers. So it also had this hatch, which is a bit optimistic, but here we are. The charge lots find even more. Oh no. The drones. And in the main. Lancer everywhere with the charge lots. Working way better than the Zerglings right now. 17 drones dead. Scarlett down to 56. Warping in some Dark Templar as well. There's no detection to deal with it. Just continues warping in half of Ire and some of Shakuris as well. And Yang, oh, get over here. Those are some of the most dead Colossi I've ever seen. At least starting to dismantle the main army. The Lurker range is so done right now. 21 drones in production. Carriers on the way. DTs will take out the main base. For the second time this game, it's been cut down. At least that wasn't the Hive this time. Though she's consuming the Hive with the Viper. Anything else. Any other building. You could pick any other building. You have enough minerals. Build like 4 more Evo chambers for battery packs. Warping in more charge lots, which is going to get the DT killed accidentally here. There, we found it. Wait. It's close. The DT runs away. I think if that DT got a few more hits off, it may very well have killed the hatch. Not that that's really a deal breaker at this point, but double Spire. Another wait, did the Hydra Den die? Of course it did. All right. Yes. Both players scrambling to really pull their armies together after the continued kerfuffle. And now, So Lancer has 2 carriers, 1 Colossus, 5 Immortals, 11 Stalkers, a Void Ray, a Partridge, and a Pear Tree. Whereas Scarlett has 26 Lurkers and also some other units. 12 Corruptors on the way. So, I don't think either player has a great bead on exactly where they are in this game. And I, with full knowledge of both the production tab, the upgrades, the supply, and the resource banks, also don't know what's going on in this game. It is... Is it 50-50? Lancer, I think, has the better army, but is only now finally stabilizing his position. Despite all the damage done to Scarlett, she still has a very tough army to beat. Hasn't really done anything to stop 25 Lurkers from existing. Eventually the carriers, and to Lancer's credit, he's been going for those air upgrades for quite a while. Having those upgrades is very important when fighting against Corruptors and Lurkers. A lot of players will neglect them until the carriers are actually out, and that is oftentimes a huge mistake. Scarlett, though, Lancer's managed to lose 87 Zealots and counting, so it hasn't been hurt. And plenty of Stalkers as well. Now, the Death Ball heads to the south. Wow, that is, yep, that's only the best pieces. That is a Protoss army right there. A single sentry. A single observer. That is not enough observer, by the way. Just pull the observer at this point. Gets a carrier. Storms. Is there an overseer? The Lurkers are holding things at bay and also zoning out to the north. Recalls some Immortals to help break out of the Lurker contain. So, Scarlett putting together a Sporcher to zone out the carriers. Some Archons getting into the mix, alongside the Templar of both varieties. Scarlett making her Spire great again. Broodlords potentially on the agenda, as we slow things down and try to figure out exactly what's happening. What? Yeah. I didn't like that Colossus either. An interesting call to outright backstab at 2 carrier. Wow, just outright kills the Colossus. That's an interesting move. Well, some more supply about to be freed up as the Lurkers and Zerglings hold down the Immortals and eviscerate everything else. And suddenly Lancer down 30 supply, yanks in 1 carrier, gets 2. +3 shields is now completed for the Protoss. Mothership is on the way. Nidus and Scarlett clearly with the momentum now. Money in the bank, a better army, and continually able to dismantle this carrier-based composition. Though leaving the Lurkers alone to fight is obviously not the ideal move. Just gonna fight it heads up. Where are the Storms? Where are the Storms? Finally added in. Splitting against them. Just letting the Corruptors go. Meanwhile, the Zerglings and the Lurkers will make it through, and the Mothership may never see the light of day. Lancer down 70 supply. 20 more Corruptors in production. That happened to be the Nexus making a Mothership, of course, to add to the dramatic base kills in this game. The Lurkers will slice through the front line. A tactical Nidus reinforcement. The Corruptors are coming out, looking to yank at least 1 carrier, brings it back. The other carriers, recall. 2 carriers and 1 observer recall. so I guess that's something. But Scarlett looks like she's put herself in a winning position without really ever having to take a decisive fight. Lancer fighting into a far superior army multiple times and now bleeding out. Or whatever the Protoss have going on there, chlorophyll or something. There are 16 lurkers, 30 corruptors. What a game. What a convoluted disaster piece of a game that Scarlett seems like she's going to be on the winning end of. From the multiple half-hearted cannon rushes to the unscouted gold to the big carrier transition to the carriers just being cut to pieces before they can really do anything. Scarlett now closing in. Even though Lancer has that bottom right base, Scarlett's consumed most of the map. Templar Archives is being rebuilt. There's a Nidus in the main. Spotted for by this changeling. The creep tumors will delay the Protoss army for a moment. There's a charge lot at the watchtower, delaying the lurkers, creating quite a traffic jam. They're freaking out about it. Alright, that Zealot gets special attention. And still doesn't die. Oh my god. Single Zealot delaying the entire Zerg army by like 20 seconds. That Lancer has 3-3 upgrades across the board. And not nearly enough units to take advantage of them. Scarlett not slouching either. She's got +3 attack, missile, and melee. And +2/2 in the air. With this Congress of Corruptors, she's able to knock out carriers in a single volley. And now, I think it's Lancer's time to wonder where those G keys are on this keyboard. Or even just the one. Would be fine. Just hit it twice. I don't need to explain keyboards. You guys have keyboards. GG. Scarlett strikes back. In quite an experience. But it's all tied up. Which, I have no predictions for Game 3. As the games are getting more and more confusing as they go on. But Scarlett showing a bit more, not even necessarily competence, I would say, though yes, but patience in the late game. Whereas Lancer looked like he was desperately trying to get damage done. Scarlett eventually just buckled down and said, "Come at me, bro." And well, here we are. Game 3's on Oceanborn, where everyone... Oh my god, Scarlett tried to do a proxy hatch. Everyone's taken their second base at relatively the time they're supposed to. So, we will have a relatively generic start. For the first time. Both relievingly and disappointedly. Pro being calmly, politely, yet firmly asked to leave. Now we'll see what these players want to do when they're able to get to the 3-minute mark relatively untouched. I will say, though, like, Scarlett did attempt a proxy hatch, so that already throws things off a little. Going to be a Stargate from Lancer. Zergling speed from Scarlett. And now, I expect plenty of queens and drones. We've seen the script before. It seemed like Lancer should have had the opportunity to break through, but never really had a direct answer to the lurkers. Kept fighting around them, and that eventually became the focal point of everything. Like that carrier Templar army is so scary. But you do need to respect the lurkers underneath, because otherwise you can't get the Templar close enough to storm. And the Vipers will just keep kidnapping your carriers. Alright, you want a piece of candy, carriers? Come on over. Surprisingly susceptible. You would think they wouldn't fall for that, considering they don't have mouths. But the Adepts. Get off my creep! Okay, Brenda. Void Ray. Oh, the Adept stuck around a little too long. It gets taken out, but the Overlord will be beamed down. Void Ray first is the choice, explicitly to take out these Overlords. But there's another Overlord just kind of sitting at the natural, which feels like it... I kind of like the choice to send the Void Ray across first, because if you reveal it immediately, well, they're going to pull their Overlords back and protect them with the Queens. Any Overlords that are past the halfway mark of the map, well, they're not going home. So, yeah, those are pretty much guaranteed kills. So actually a pretty smart move to send the Void Ray across first, and then take the Overlord out nearby, as it's already gotten all the relevant info anyway. Twilight Forge. Likely Blink +1. Scarlett. Up to 52 drones. And counting. Just ridiculous. The Shady Bunch coming out. And this is what you sacrifice if you go Void Ray instead of Oracle. Like, if you decide that that first choice is a Void Ray. Is Scarlett not only has a drone lead, but she's able to build enough Zerglings, ideally, to deal with these Adepts, though that positioning is pretty filthy. The Oracles don't pressure fast enough if you go for the Void Ray first to really cut down on the drone count. The Void Ray can help, and as I say it, even more drones dying, and Scarlett is down 7. But the key point is we're already at that post-50 mark. We're already at the stage where there's injects on every hatchery. And Creep Spread had it out. So Scarlett replaces those drones almost immediately. And now the Zerglings, well, the sentries tucked in. We'll make sure the Zerglings can't get any counter damage. Scarlett's going to be going up to 70-something drones, despite any losses. Yeah, take that, Extractor. Well, okay, well, that Extractor will remember how much it got damaged and then healed. And that is the Void Ray's contribution now. Marginal annoyance. And moderate annoyance. 7 Overlords out the way for Scarlett, who's was a bit supply block, but has plenty of drones to fill in. Wow, that's an ambitious move out from Lancer. Really trying to keep some pressure on. He knows if he just lets Scarlett go for even another minute, she may be too big to fail. Like, 4 bases with 75 drones against a Protoss who has a single-digit gateway units. Good luck. But looks like Scarlett will just give up this base. Cutting off the reinforcements with some Zerglings. Cancels the hatch. Has another one to the south, though a little on the later side. Hive is already on the way. Lurker Den, there it is. A saving grace of last kill. Oh no, the Zerglings! They get into the natural. And now the probes. And most importantly, not so much the probes being vulnerable, but all the Blink Stalkers are back at home now. Scarlett builds the moment she got into the base, she built 14 drones. You greedy Canadian goose. Oh my. That's just gratuitous. 87 drones is not necessary and is somewhat of a liability. In fact, she's about to be... Yeah, there we go. 7 more Overlords that allow her to max out. And then some. Well, not really then some, but you get the idea. That is actually possibly too many drones. And if there's any sort of vulnerability here, it's because the units are just a little bit late behind. And with Hive on the way, Lurker Den on the way, but not done yet. These Blink Stalkers are a threat, and Hydra speed isn't quite there yet. Lancer doesn't want to risk the entire army, though. Fair enough. So many Hydras in every game. Well, not really game one, but only because she couldn't really get there in time. Stasis coming down. Doesn't actually manage to take it out, and another base will be shaved away. Lancer doing a good job of keeping control of the hatcheries and the creep. 80 hit drones for Scarlett. Full 4-base hatchery. Lurkers on the way. Force field is optimistic. More force fields, more helpful. The Hydra is being led through a maze of force field here. The Lurkers are done though. Templar Archives only halfway there. So much stasis. Just scattered throughout the field. You can see it on the mini-map as well. All those little stasis wards, like creep tumors, but they freeze you in place. Ground weapons level 2. Completed now for Lancer. Very important. Speaking of lances, extended thermal lance about to complete, and the Colossi are tiptoeing across the map. Multiple stasis. Are there any Vipers out? I don't believe so. Stasis triggers on those Zerglings. Gonna go straight for the Colossus and knock it down. Ripped to the ground. Scarlett, an early win there will force Lancer back. The stasis, a temporary stop, well, a stopgap indeed, as it doesn't actually kill the units. Another hatchery attempted for Scarlett, though the charge lots should make relatively quick work of that. The charge lots decide that's just way too easy, and sportingly, they actually just go straight to the natural, where Scarlett did not expect to adjust her units quickly enough, and now is backing off this position. Well, the Lurkers are really cutting into the Stalkers, though they may eventually take it out. Another wave of charge lots. There's some in the natural, some in the main. Take out the base to the north. 9 drones down. Scarlett still maxed out, builds 20 drones to replace the 11 she lost, which is a, you know, what they call a good excuse, I guess. Like, but more drones are being cut down, so may end up breaking even by the end of it. But these charge lots, even better, the Zerg lots at this point. The Zealotlings. 17 drones. Scarlett plummets to 4 workers more than she had a minute ago. Lancer now with base number 5 online. 2 more robos on the way. So 3 robos in total. Where's the fleet beacon? Stargate, Stargate. And there it is. The fleet beacon is lit. The Dark Templar called in as Lancer rounds out the unit composition. Scarlett playing defense across the board. Again, content to sit back and let Lancer come to her, but eventually, we didn't really see the Sky Toss come together in time for Lancer in Game 2. Scarlett was able to pick it apart quite easily. This time around, though, Lancer is comfortably on 5 bases. Scarlett has not really been able to put any pressure on the economy at all. So, yeah, and the main army breaking through, though the Templar are just kind of wandering in. Some of them dying before getting the storms off. Some of the Colossi taking damage from Spore Crawlers, which is not ideal. Meanwhile, charge lots in the main, cut down. And a mothership is on the way. This one may actually see the light of day, as it is in the main base. 3 Immortals at a time. Lancer, though, throwing away so many Zealots. He's not even maxed out. He's acting like he is, but Scarlett right now has more army supply, maxed out with money in the bank. Though Lancer's kind of playing like a maxed out Protoss, throwing away units left, right, and occasionally down the center. Which I think is keeping Scarlett somewhat cautious, as not really expecting to have such an army supply advantage, I'm sure. But this is actually most of the army from Lancer walking around the map right now. Couple Colossi, some High Templar, Oracles. A handful of stalkers mixed in. There's not too much more to it. Well, there is one big group of units that we're missing, which is the 5 immortals. And now 3 carriers are in production. +1 air weapons, but Scarlett, not slouching. She's actually going for the carapace upgrades for air first. Clearly intent on dealing with carriers. As carapace upgrades, attack upgrades are helpful. But the carrier interceptors have multiple attacks. Those carapace upgrades likely will pay better dividends. And nothing really helps against storms, so. The mothership glides out onto the field. We'll see how Lancer decides to use it. Last time I saw Lancer build a mothership, he decided to just leave it in the corner, kind of forgotten until the game ended. Not in his favor. So, which was quite sad, though one of the more useful motherships I've ever seen. At least it wasn't a waste. Multiple times, I think. Carriers are out. Immortals and High Templar and carriers. Meanwhile, the Templar and the Colossi over to the right flank. Colossus gets yanked in. Feedback, 0 out of 5. Murdered my friend. Now, to be technical, I didn't murder him. I just pulled him into the army, and then he got murdered. So at best, I'm an accomplice, like 2nd-degree murder. Okay, 1 out of 5. Fair? Well, storms melting through a lot of the Zerg to start. Scarlett scattered throughout the field. The Vipers are ambling over. Always too fast in Protoss mines and far too slow for the Zerg. Tectonic destabilizers. Tempest building damage is in production. Not something you see every day. Also, still no Tempest yet, but just, you know, preparing for the eventuality. Scarlett, she's missing one more base to call it a half-map scenario. Lancer's taken a full half-map himself. Those center line bases on this raised platform on either side. Those are the key. Yanks in the carrier with a vengeance, but only gets 1 through all the efforts of the Vipers. Storms and the Hydras combining, and actually the interceptor count is down to 6. Just 6, which is less than the, almost less than the amount of carriers. So doing a good job of popping the interceptors for now. They're not yet at the critical mass where that is an impossibility. And honestly, I think Lancer killed about as many interceptors. Not quite. But still, a chunk of them was Storm. Recalls. I love that. I love the tactical mothership. Using it as a secondary recall and a last line of defense. But now the mothership is moving forward. Time Warp. An interesting choice to lead into it. Just a cooldown base, but now the mothership out in front. I mean, one of the tankier units, active cloaking. But there's still plenty of spore crawlers for detection. Get over here! Yanks in the mothership, gives it another pull, and there we see a mothership taken down. I don't know if bringing the mothership in was worth it, but, well, once again, I think we gotta bring out our handy-dandy diagram here. Now, I want you to look. If you look here, you see this is a mothership. Now, if you notice one thing, it's that this is made of paper, which is an accurate representation of the construction of the mothership. So, jot that down somewhere. But not the mothership paper, somewhere else. Meanwhile, mass cannons. Carriers kind of yanked off to the side, tries to get them out of the storm. The mass corruptors, shield battery overcharge, keeping one of the carriers intact, takes several volleys. Now, more carriers. The interceptor's not all activated, and the rest getting taken down by a lot of the hydras and corruptors themselves. The lurkers trying to help out. More forward shield batteries. Scarlett fighting against the massive static defense here. The lurkers doing their best. The carrier count is cut down. Lurkers still intact. There's still enough corruptors. Could potentially caustic spray and pray her way through. More carriers added on. The shield batteries, relatively cheap in the scheme of things, and it looks like they actually got their energy's worth overall. Are we going to see Broodlords? Because right now, Scarlett needs some anti-ground capabilities. There's one Broodlord. Here come the charge slots. This base repeatedly bullied. This is like the 4th or 5th time. I don't think it's actually completed most of the time. But the 4th or 5th time, that has been shut down one way or another. 8, 9 Broodlords on the way. Ultraless Cavern. And now Mass Carrier. No Tempest. No +3 Protoss air weapons in production. We now finally have Infestors being added in. Lancer has been able to hold on despite Scarlett's kind of tentative victory in that fight. She was unable to translate that into a kill on the base because she ran out of units that could really hit buildings. The Broodlords now moving into filled out role. There are still 21 Corruptors. Mothership number 2 is on the field. Templar behind, the Sky Toss. Are there any Vipers? No. With no Vipers, no easy way to deal with this. Meanwhile, more charge lots. This time, there's enough Hydras and Lings to shut it down, though they're committed to the right side of the map. And that means it's going to be a lot harder to deal with the Templar directly. Mass Broodlords. Well, the Storms, a bit late. They don't stack, but they do start working. And greatly timed. No Overseers with the army. Great presence of mind to activate the cloaking there. After the Corruptors were already so committed. And Dark Templar warped in. Cloaking of multiple varieties. The Dark Templar just sliced through. Scarlett had detection, but it didn't matter because there were just too many DTs. And now Lancer trying to take that secondary base. Scarlett is running the risk of losing the war of attrition. She's lost 2,000 less Vespene gas and a little bit over 2,000 less minerals, but she's mined less as well. Now, the Mass Archons leading the charge with the Mothership in tow. And while the Broodlords are pretty speedy, the Corruptors even faster. This base gets hit again. And the non-Bane... They're Banelings here, but Banelings not known for their strength against Archons. It takes approximately 74 Banelings to kill an Archon. Give or take. Like 50, but... Chitinous Plating, Baneling Speed, Neural Parasite, and +3 Flyer Attack. One of these is not like the others. But, Scarlett filling in a lot of upgrades. Ideally, you would already have done at this stage of the game. The supreme late game. And if Lancer's able to pick up both center bases, though Scarlett now, gonna take down the probes. In fact, this might actually help Lancer. 75 probes is a bit high at this stage. Having more army supply is likely going to be a better option. But Baneling Speed is now done. Another massive cannons! What is the CPM right now? Actually, there's only 8 cannons on the field. Lancer's lost 10 cannons, 10 shield batteries. He's building well, about that number. And then again, Stalkers warped in. And immediately just... Wait, were they warped in? I have no idea if they were, like, warped in just to blink it and die, or if there were somehow Stalkers still left over. But either way, they're dead now. And that is a beefy Protoss army. Carriers, Archons, High Templar, the classic Sky Toss. Somewhat puns intended, but the Spore Crawlers to help zone things out. But without something to deal with the storm, oh my, there's actually the Lurkers! Hello? This base, big recall. Oh my god, just blasting. Unfortunately for Scarlett, the High Templar weren't right in front. That could have been a very lucky pickoff if the High Templar got caught by the Banes, but it wasn't to be. And now, well, oh my god, there are 13 Archons. 14, 15. I'm great at counting. They even have the little numbers for me, so I don't have to try very hard. Oh my. That was the last queen. Just got slaughtered. Time warp onto the Lurkers. Slowing the attack speed. It's also going to affect the Broodlords and the Corruptors. Some Tempests on the way. And Scarlett needs to make something happen soon, as Lancer just kind of keeps trading either side of the map. Scarlett is still more efficient, despite everything. She hasn't really lost a meaningful amount of Corruptors or Broodlords. She's only lost 6 Corruptors and no Broodlords throughout all of this, which are by far the largest gas investments besides spellcasters right now. 21 lurkers have died, so that's not cheap. But the army is lurkers, or archons and oracles, which is a hard counter to most Zerg that... Well, just most Zerg. But no, my god! Those fancy Protoss balloons getting shredded. And despite their +3 shield upgrades, their number is cut in half easily by the spawns of the lurkers. 3 Ultralisks on the way, as Scarlett looks for more options to deal. She's actually gonna fight Lancer here. And the charge lots are absorbing a lot of the damage. Lurker's just not that good on their own. They need something in front. And the Archons power is overwhelming. Oh, this feels like an inflection point here. Scarlett losing that base outright alongside all the defenders and the drones. Trying to make something happen now. Ultras popping out, getting surrounded by charge lots, and melted by Archons. Well, And now Lancer, once again, taking that base to the top left. I think some burrowed lings were a little bit late over there. More Ultras on the way, which probably better than Lurkers, but the Broodlord still sieging. Some badly hurt. Oh, Yanks and a couple carriers. We'll be able to pick them up. Huge damage. Fully upgraded Corruptors, as well as Broodlords. Both Broodlings with +3 melee attack, and the Corruptor Broodlord with 3/3 flyer. The Ultras with the surround. The Oracles will burn through the chitinous plating, but the Ultras should be able to take out the Archons. There should be a recall ready. 3 more Stargates on the way. The Ultras, let me at them! Sporist created over here. And Stargates on location. But Scarlett, that Zerg army is just so unwieldy. Scarlett now still has lost 2,500 less gas, but she's mined 4,000 less. And I'm not a mathematician, but those numbers don't add up to success. Lancer might not be quite as efficient, but he's just being more effective. The Ultras and Lings trying to overrun this base. Scarlett cannot afford to let the base mine for too long. Time warp. Mothership zoning out. Reinforces. There's only one pylon to potentially reinforce. Recalls the carriers away. And it's a move like that that Scarlett could potentially take advantage of. There's not that much here. Maybe 2 storms on the Templar. The army is about as split as it's ever going to be. Now is the moment to jump on it, and Scarlett agrees. The Ultras and Lings can draw things out underneath. The Corruptors. Oh no, the storm hits the ground and the air, though. Unfortunate, but exactly what Lancer needed for maximum damage. Scarlett will win this fight. The Stalkers are warped in, but here come the Zerglings. It was a trap. Oh no. The Stalkers are warped in, and Scarlett just rips them to shreds, I say. But unfortunately, there's no anti-air on the other side. Leaning into the Void Race. They light up and burn away some of the Broodlords. But Scarlett, there's still one queen. Oh no. Scarlett still with plenty of supply. 18 more probes down. The mothership survives somehow. Well, that might not last forever. The Vipers, no! Near full energy Vipers. The Ultras and Lings going to work. We're going into a base trade, I guess. Lancer doesn't have enough to warp in more than 1 DT, and there's Overseers here. The DT is cleaved in twain as Scarlett's Ultras go to work, but she has no more gas. She's down to 60. Oh no, the Infestor throws out a fungal, but it only does shield damage, and there's enough batteries to pull them back together. Scarlet has cleared out the left side of the map. The Lancer is still chewing through the right. Scarlet just going for the main. There's nothing left to defend the infrastructure. Recall is still 30 seconds out. Scarlet may very well be able to take out most of the natural and a lot of the main. And if Lancer pulls too much back to defend, either via recall or just running it back, well then Scarlet might be able to take out the only important mining base right now. So Scarlet has a potential win condition on the board. But it really depends on what she does against this recall. There's the Tempest. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the recall we were waiting for. Scarlet now taking the bases on the left side. I mean, she's still been so much more cost effective. Which is just such a weird scenario for Zerg against Protoss at this stage. Yanked out. Oracle taken down. Those oracles are such an important part. Lancer agrees. There's a changeling underneath this whole army. That is still quite a death ball. But Scarlet is now... how much is in there? 3k more gas. These are mined out. This is the only... Wait, there's still some gas at the, the 9:15 p.m. base. By p.m. Doesn't make any sense. Well, by this point in the game, it's definitely p.m. But, oh, the time warp. Yanks at the mothership. And down she goes. And another one being rebuilt immediately. The Tempest take the hatchery out in turn. How much gas? There's like 2,300 over there. Scarlet taking another base. Oh my. The Ultras and Archons. Well, Ultras versus Archons, rather. We're back to the ground war. And a single Infestor throws in the fungal. The Immortals blasting through the Ultras, but the Zerglings really helping out underneath. This battle may end up being about a draw between them, but the Broodlord's looking to tilt the scales, and they throw the Broodlings down upon it. A single Ultra and a single Archon survive. 27 kill Archon. Oh my. 6 more drones dead as Lancer tries to carve through on the eastern side of the map. Scarlet securing the west. But Scarlet's tech is committed in the main base. If Lancer gets there, then it's not really feasible for Scarlet to tech all the way back up. There's a spine crawler running. Lancer has barely any income. Scarlet isn't particularly rich herself here. But she's got to deal with the Sky Toss. At some point, the Templar must die. It's not the carriers that are the problem, it's the Templar. If the Templar are killed, or at least somehow forced into Archons would be good enough. Alright, Splits gets on top of the mothership. Is there detection? It doesn't matter. The parasitic bomb in the midst of everything. Are there storms? The Broodlords have nothing left to shoot. The Corruptors are not enough. It's a disaster for the Canadian Zerg. But is it a game-ending one? 5 queens in production. There are still 5 carriers. The mothership lived. She's so tanky. The Spire? Are there any? Both Spires were at the natural. The main base is being gutted by the Zerglings and the Ultras. There's still Overseers here. There's still anti-air in the form of queens. Another queen pops out, desperate to defend. More Corruptors have been built. Spore Crawlers are scattered throughout. Broodlords can help with the base trade. Lancer doesn't have enough gas to warp in anything but these last 2 High Templar. He warped in 2 more High Templar at the last bastion of the Protoss. and Scarlett restarts the tech tree from scratch. The Brood Lord base trade. 4 queens, 3 corruptors. That's not enough. Scarlett, now Lancer can't know that. He doesn't know exactly how much Scarlett has, but a recall! Oh no, that Viper needs to live. That Viper's the kicker here. Oh, Void Race. Oh no. Can build some spores. But unfortunately, the Void Rays may spot all this beforehand. Parasitic Bomb onto the Vipers. I mean, onto the Void Ray. Needs to consume desperately. There isn't even a ground up. There's just 2 Templar. The Spore Crawlers may finish. The Queens. Why is it always down to us, Brenda? We're all they have left. Hold the line. Now the Queens and the Spore Crawlers. Another Parasitic Bomb. Doesn't quite kill the Viper. Parasitic Bomb on the mothership. She leads it away. Down goes the mothership. The Queens are fighting, but the Void Rays are added in. The Queens are trying, but it's not enough. The Golden Armada will clear out the anti-air. Scarlett is going for an elimination race. She's not willing to give this up quite yet. And there's still a dream of it. Oh, there's so many cannons. You've gone 30, oh my god, 34 minutes. 34 minutes. You've got to give it a shot. But while there might not be a single gateway unit, the Stargate units, on the other hand, the Void Rays should be enough to clear out the Zerglings. The Armada, Scarlett's building count is in single digits if you don't count the creep tumors, and we don't count those in a base trade. G. Scarlett unable to pull together the anti-air to hold the line, despite, well, I think she lost less by the end. Just couldn't quite hold on to enough bases. Couldn't claw together enough corruptors. And couldn't break through the cannons. As Lancer holds the line for long enough. Oh, but it was damn close. Scarlett lost 3,000 gas. She had 1,000 gas in the bank by the end. Almost equal minerals. But just didn't quite dislodge those bases. 3 motherships dead. 160,000 resources, which amounts to almost, that's about 85% of all the resources on the map. It might not have been the highest level game I've ever seen, but one of the most dramatic ones. I really thought it would just end one, decisive way or another. Once we got to that death ball, either Scarlett was going to pick it apart and Lancer wasn't going to be able to recover, or Scarlett was going to get run over, which we've all been there against Skytoss. But it still ended so close. Well, either way, definitely quite a game. I hope you enjoyed. Hope it made your day just a little bit better. It certainly didn't make my voice a little bit better, but I'd say worth it, wouldn't you? If you got the means and motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But otherwise, I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. Thank you for watching. Hope I made your day just a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.